beautiful, brilliant little ticking time bombs. Do you have any idea how dangerously close you are to actually figuring yourselves out? That takes guts. That takes something most people trade away before they're old enough to miss it. So here you are, and oh, do I have something to tell you. Because I sat down, right here, right now, and before I even opened my mouth, something in this room shifted, cracked, like stepping on thin ice you didn't know you were standing on. My hands went cold. My chest seized up like someone had reached in and squeezed, and I had to stop. Just breathe. Count the cracks in the ceiling for a solid minute. Because whatever walked into this room with your energy, it is not small, it is not polite, and it is absolutely, categorically, deliciously not something that wanders past me on a Tuesday. This is not a typical reading, this is not typical anything. And honestly, I'm still rattled by whatever just came barreling through for you, my little live wire. So if this video found you, if you clicked on that title because something in your gut yanked the leash and said, wait, hold on, is that about me? Trust that yank. Trust it right now. Because I think you might be exactly who this message came hunting for. Let me be straight with you from the jump. I have been doing this work a long, long time, sitting with people's energy, poking around in what's squirming underneath the nice, clean surface of their lives. And I have felt a lot of things over the years. Grief so heavy, it pinned me to my chair, like a butterfly under glass. Joy so sharp and sudden, it made me cackle alone in my kitchen at 2 a.m. like a lunatic. Confusion, relief, bone-deep exhaustion, stubborn little sprouts of hope, the whole ugly, beautiful buffet. But what hit me, right before I pressed that record button today, I genuinely don't have a word clean enough to pin it down. It wasn't just strong, wasn't just loud, it was ancient. That's the word that keeps crawling back to me on its hands and knees. Ancient. Like something that's been around the block, not once, not twice, but through entire lifetimes. Something that knows things it has absolutely zero business knowing. And the funniest part, the real punchline here, is that I don't think you walk around feeling like that at all. I think you carry something enormous, sweetheart, something other people can clock the second they get within 10 feet of you. And yet, you probably spend most of your days feeling more like a pilot light someone keeps trying to blow out. Flinching at every draft instead of recognizing you're the kind of heat that melts the whole damn thermostat. That gap between what I'm sensing from you and what I think you actually believe about yourself right now is honestly staggering. Jaw on the floor territory. And it's a big part of why I felt so blindsided before we even properly got rolling. Let me try to walk you through what happened, because I know that all sounds like a lot, and I don't want to just hurl grenades of big talk without handing you something real to hold on to after the smoke clears. I sat down, did my usual thing, lit a candle, got quiet, cleared all the static out of my head the way I always do before I sit with someone's energy. Standard operating procedure. But the second I tuned in, something slammed into me so hard I literally had to press my hand flat against my chest and remember how lungs work. You know that feeling right before a storm rolls in? When the air turns into something you can almost chew. That strange, swollen pressure that makes your ears pop and your skin go electric? Yeah, that. But underneath it, underneath all of it, was this warmth. And I don't mean cozy fireplace, fuzzy socks, warmth. This was deep, pulsing, like standing too close to a reactor core. like heat bleeding up through cracks in the earth from something that's been burning down there for centuries and nobody ever bothered to check. I actually looked around my empty room like a fool, half expecting to find someone lurking behind me, because that kind of intensity doesn't usually show up without a return address. But it was just me, and it was you. Whoever this energy belongs to, somewhere out there. Maybe watching this right now. Maybe not even clocking that this whole thing is about them. Stop listening to them. Hear this instead, darling. Most people are just NPCs, but you're a glitch in the matrix. Read The Evolution of the Anomaly, 73 pages of dark clarity. Consider that your intermission. Grab it in the description. Now, let's get back to the show. Now I want to tell you something else, and I need you, really need you, to hear it without doing that thing you always do. That little dodge, that deflect and redirect you've turned into an art form your whole life. Whatever I'm picking up from you, this energy is not borrowed. You didn't absorb it from somebody more impressive standing next to you at a party. You're not running on someone else's battery. This isn't some temporary vibe, or a phase, or a mood ring situation. This is your own engine, revving from somewhere deep and internal and old. Older than this lifetime, older than this body, older than anything you've consciously put your fingerprints on. And here's the part that's genuinely making my eyes sting a little as I say it out loud. You gorgeous wreck. I don't think you see it at all. I think you move through your days completely oblivious to the fact that you're hauling around something so rare and so volatile that other people feel it before you've even opened your mouth. I think you've spent so long feeling ordinary, just getting by, just barely keeping the machine running, that you never stopped to notice the way a room recalibrates when you walk in, the way people's shoulders drop when they sit next to you, the way total strangers seem to hand you their trust like it's nothing, without knowing a single thing about you. That's not coincidence, Buttercup. That is not just you being pleasant or approachable or whatever watered-down word you've been using to explain it away. That's your energy doing real, tangible, measurable work that you haven't fully owned yet. I'm picking up on deep stuff here. And I don't mean deep like pretentious TED Talk deep. I mean foundational, load-bearing wall deep, carved into the bedrock of your soul deep. I'm sensing you've been through at least one season. Probably more than one if we're being honest. And oh, let's be honest, where everything around you came apart at the seams. Where you lost things you were certain you'd never get back. Where you genuinely questioned if you'd ever feel like a whole person again. Where the thought crossed your mind in the ugliest, quietest hours that maybe you just weren't going to make it through intact. And you did. You walked straight through that furnace. And instead of calcifying the way most people understandably do after real pain, instead of bricking up every window and bolting every door and going cold from the inside out, something in you split open the other direction. You somehow let all that wreckage make you more porous, more tender, more plugged in to the people around you, more able to sit with someone else's pain, because you knew exactly what the weight of it felt like, pressed against your own ribs. That is not standard issue. That is genuinely, freakishly uncommon. And I need you to absorb that because I think you've normalized it. I think you think everybody does this, that everyone crawls out of disaster softer instead of meaner, that everyone takes their scars and reverse engineers them into a compass for other people. But they don't. Most people get hurt, and they fold inward. You got hurt, and somehow got wider. That's the thing screaming at me right now. I also want to be real with you about something I'm picking up around the way people respond to you. Because I suspect this has been messing with your head for a long time, my little paradox. People gravitate toward you. And I don't mean that in some casual, oh, you're popular, lots of Instagram followers kind of way. I mean there is something magnetic about you that reels people in without you having to perform a single trick. They want to be near you. They want to spill their secrets at your feet like loose change. They want to sit in your orbit and just exist for a while, without having to hustle or pose or hold their shape. And I think sometimes that drains you completely dry. Because everybody always seems to want a piece. Your time, your focus, your ear, your endless, inexhaustible patience. But here's what I need you to understand. The reason people flock to you isn't because you're an easy mark, isn't because you can't hold a boundary, isn't because you're too soft to push back. It's because being near you actually recalibrates something in other people's wiring. They feel safe around you, not because you're trying to manufacture safety, but because underneath all the day-to-day anxiety, you lug around like a backpack full of bricks. Your core frequency is genuinely that steady. This is a real gift, and it is not something everybody carries, and it is also not something you should be treating like a punishment. It's sacred work you've been doing without ever sending yourself an invoice for it. And I think a part of you has been hauling that weight solo for a very long time, wondering if anybody was ever going to peek behind the curtain and see the actual you underneath all the masks you've been wearing for everyone else's convenience. I keep getting this image of you standing at a threshold, and I want to sit with it for a second, because it will not leave me alone. I see a gate that's been rusted shut for a long time. I don't know exactly what it represents for you specifically. Whether it's a relationship, a creative project you've been incubating in the dark, a career pivot, a relocation, a deeper spiritual unraveling, something that's been pacing in the wings for what feels like geological ages. But this gate is starting to grind open. It's not wide open yet. I can feel that distinctly. But it's moving. And when it finally swings, it is not going to be subtle. I think you have been doing so much internal renovation that nobody else has witnessed. So much quiet surgery on old wounds. So much slow, meticulous pulling apart of patterns and narratives that were dumped on you by people who had no right to write your story in the first place. And you've been doing all of that in silence. No applause, no gold stars, no one patting you on the back and telling you that you're heading the right direction. I want to tell you right now, all that invisible work is about to cash out, in ways that are going to catch you completely off guard. People are about to start seeing the real you, not the curated version you've been performing for other people's comfort, not the chameleon who shapeshifts into whatever a room needs at any given second. The actual you underneath all the costuming. And here's the part I think might actually rattle you. Precious. They're going to love that raw version even more than the polished, managed, carefully edited one you've been serving up out of sheer muscle memory. I think there's a part of you that genuinely believes if you stop performing, if you quit managing everyone else's emotional temperature, if you just showed up unfiltered, unedited, no safety net, people would bolt. I am sensing, crystal clear, that the opposite is what's barreling toward you, the exact opposite. People are about to be pulled toward you harder than ever. Not in spite of your unvarnished realness, because of it. Full stop. I also want to dig into something I'm picking up around how you've been navigating life until now. Because I think the ground is moving under your feet, and you haven't quite registered the tremor yet. For a very long time, you felt like you had to chase every single thing. Relationships, opportunities, recognition, even basic human connection. Like you had to audition for your own life over and over just to get a call back, just to be picked, just to feel like you had a seat at the table that wasn't borrowed. And that chase has left you depleted in ways you haven't fully copped to, even to yourself. But I'm sensing that whole exhausting cycle is winding down, because this energy inside you, this light, this reactor core glow, it's still expanding. You are nowhere near peak wattage yet, you magnificent disaster. You are still climbing, and as you keep rising, things are going to start drifting toward you instead of you having to sprint after them with your arms out. Opportunities are going to find your address. People who are tuned to the real frequency of you are going to materialize without you placing a single ad. Resources, money. Yeah, money. Creative openings. All of it is going to start flowing in your direction, rather than you having to kick down every door yourself. That's not wishful thinking. That's not some motivational poster nonsense. That's just how energy behaves when someone finally quits arm wrestling themselves and lets their genuine signal do the broadcasting. And I think you're standing right on the lip of that shift, closer than you realize, probably closer than you're comfortable with. I'm also getting something specific about someone from your past, and I know this might feel like it's coming from left field, but I'm mentioning it because it keeps surfacing like a song stuck on repeat. Someone is watching over everything that's unfolding for you right now. Someone who is deeply, genuinely proud of who you've become. I'm getting mixed signals on exactly who this is. Could be someone who's passed on, a grandparent, a mentor, someone who left this world before they got to watch you properly come into your own. Or it could be your own younger self, that earlier version of you who didn't feel safe, who didn't feel truly seen, who didn't believe they were going to survive long enough to reach this exact moment in one piece. Either way, there is immense pride here. Tears in the eyes, throat tight, can't speak kind of pride. If it's someone who's passed, I want you to know, they see exactly what you've become, despite every single thing you had to claw through to get here. And if it's your younger self, they're proud too. Maybe it's both at once. There's a pride sitting in this room right now that has absolutely nothing to do with achievements or your bank balance or what your life looks like from the outside looking in. It's pride in who you've become as a person underneath all the metrics. Your tenderness, your stubborn, impossible resilience, your light, specifically. That is what's being honored right now. But I also want to be honest with you about what's been dimming this light, because I refuse to hand you a message that's all glitter and no grit, angel. Every genuine light has something quietly working to snuff it out. That's just how the physics of energy operates. And I want to look at that honestly, together without wrapping it in ribbon first. Somewhere along the way, maybe through your family, maybe through the culture you marinated in growing up, maybe just through the raw circumstances of being alive. You were taught that being humble means making yourself smaller, that taking up space, openly believing in your own gifts, acknowledging your own light out loud, is somehow arrogant, inappropriate, too much. So you learn to constantly sand yourself down. Someone pays you a compliment and you swat it away before it even lands. Someone tells you that you genuinely changed something in their life, and you wave it off like you were just standing there when it happened. I need you to hear this clearly today. Shrinking yourself down doesn't make you humble. It makes you a ghost. And the people around you need the actual full-voltage version of you, not the dimmer switch edition you've been offering out of force of habit. The real one. I'm also sensing a deep, old fear of being too much for people. A fear that somewhere along the way, maybe someone who mattered enormously to you, made you feel like your emotions were too big. Your intuition was too strange. Your energy was too intense for them to handle without flinching. And instead of recognizing that as their ceiling, you quietly absorbed it as your flaw. So you've spent years turning your own volume knob down, second-guessing your gut instincts even, especially when they turned out to be dead right. Apologizing for feeling things deeply like it was a crime you kept committing. And I want to gently push back on that today, because I think it genuinely matters. You were never too much. You were simply too much for people who were never built to carry what you carry in the first place. Those are two completely different diagnoses, and only one of them actually has anything to do with you. I want to leave you with something practical, too. Something you can actually grip. Because I don't want this message to wash over you like a wave, and then pull right back out the moment this video ends and life starts barking orders again. I'm sensing you need some kind of consistent ritual, something that reminds your body and your brain of everything that surfaced between us today. Doesn't need to be fancy, doesn't need to be a production, just something steady. Maybe a few quiet minutes in the morning before the world gets its teeth into you. Maybe journaling, messy, unpolished, brain dump journaling, where you just empty your skull onto paper without editing a syllable. Maybe something physical, moving your body, dancing around your kitchen like nobody's scoring it, going for a walk without your phone grafted to your hand. Something that stitches this into your daily life, so it doesn't quietly dissolve in a week once the grind picks back up, the way it always does.